Good morning. I hope things are well with you as we are on day 2, Tuesday, March 15th, as we look at Hebrews chapter 8. And again, I would encourage you, if you've not read this, to pause and go ahead and read chapter 8. Again, Hebrews is a fairly complex book, and there's so much Old Testament stuff here, and today we look at that Jesus brings about a better covenant than the Old Covenant. As you think back, the Old Covenant is what was brought to Moses, that God brought to Moses, the Ten Commandments, the law, the Levitical laws, the sacrifices, the purpose of the temple, all that stuff, and sacrifices for forgiveness of sin, So this new covenant has come to being, and we see a great summary of really where we're at in verses 1 and 2. Now, the point in what we are saying is this. So the author is telling us this is the focus. This is what I'm writing about. And we have such a high priest, one who is seated at the right hand of the throne of the majesty in heaven, a minister in the holy places in the true tent that the Lord set up. So this, since we have this superior priest seated at the right hand, seated gives you this connotation of his work is finished. The work is done. He is seated. He's enthroned with the Father in heaven. So he is on the throne, and he's in the holy place. So if we have a superior priest, Christ is worth worshiping. Because also he's in a superior place. And he talks about the old priesthood, that they serve a copy and a shadow of what's in heaven. And the argument would be, why worship something or why follow something that's a copy when you can follow and worship the real thing? So Christ is in a superior and more excellent place. And then it goes on to really talk about where the new covenant is talked about in Jeremiah 31, and quotes all of 31 verses 31 through 34. And talks about the old covenant, and it said in verse 9, they did not continue in my covenant, and as a result I showed no concern for them, declares the Lord. So there is this obedience factor to the law that was not happening. So the covenant, God was not concerned, but promises a day. He says, when I will put my laws into their minds, and I will write them on their hearts, and I will be their God, and they will be my people. They shall all know me. I will be merciful towards the iniquities, and I will remember their sins no more. So this new covenant that Jesus brought, and with the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. And then we get to verse 13, and in speaking of a new covenant, he makes the first one obsolete. And what is becoming obsolete and growing old is ready to vanish away. This is in reference at the time when Hebrews was written. It was to a group of Jews that had accepted Christ, where it appeared to have a tendency to wanting to walk away from the faith. And it was written during the time when there was the temple in Jerusalem and the priesthood, and they were making sacrifices within the temple and doing their priestly duties, and you could see where the tendency might be, go back to what we used to do. And the author says what is becoming obsolete and growing old is ready to vanish away. In the year 70 to 72, Jerusalem is destroyed, Jerusalem is taken over, and the temple is destroyed. and the temple has never been rebuilt. There's been no temple. There has been no priesthood in the line of Levi since then. There's been rabbis, but there has been no priesthood in the sense of the Levitical priesthood since then. One thing I read years ago talked about that the temple is where they stored all the ancestry, lineage, all that record, and so that lineage is a huge deal to the Jews at that time, that they could trace their lineage to one of the 12 tribes. And the temple had that information. With the destruction of the temple, that was gone, that's taken away, never to be found again. It was destroyed. And so that today there's no possible way for a Jew to trace their lineage back to a specific tribe. So if somebody wanted to be a priest and said, hey, I'm from the tribe of Levi, that is not possible today because they don't have those records. So it's fitting in that Jesus came to replace that system. And part of the way he did that was allowing the temple to be destroyed, and I believe allowing this genealogy, the record of ancestry, to be destroyed as well. So the purpose is that this covenant that Jesus brought about is far superior to the old covenant. It's a superior priest in Jesus, a superior place in heaven, and superior promises that we see in looking at the Jeremiah passage. So, I hope you're having a great day and that you'll have a great day. And if you're put in the comments, if you would, if you're any questions, or if you're what God's telling you as you read these passages, but the author is just continuing to make clear that Christ is superior and encouraging the Jews that he's writing to stay and remain in the faith. So have a great day. We'll look at chapter 9 tomorrow, and may God bless you.